evening, everyone, and welcome back to King B's Daily RNS Podcast, where we summarise all the key RNSs from the day, did they rise or fall, and then little bits of detail. So, first up, Hemo. So they've done a bit of completion of the manufacturing of the improved lentivirus. Now, to break that down into a bit more factual stuff, basically the clinical hold by the FDA was during the splicing part of this manufacturing of this lentivirus. So they're saying now they've got a clear path to FDA approval, which sounds exciting for shareholders, but 7% down the day, which seems a bit not inconducive with the RNS, as it seems like they're on the path to FDA approval, hopefully. Next up, HE1. So 17% up on the day. Why? Because they've got the drill string out, they're on wireline and logging now. So I think the simple fact is that the short-term risk has been slightly removed. People are kind of worried about the hole again and whether it'll be a collapse. I think they've only lost 18 metres worth of hole, which is great. And then they also saying they've got a capability of on-site analysis. So they might get a few more gas readings and everything earlier if it is commercial gas. So the drill rig is not repaired yet, but they're going to do that a bit later. So yes, there's still some short-term risk there with the obviously the wireline and logging, and will it be commercial? But again, that's your choice as an investor to choose your risk appetite. So next up, COPL. I'm going to do this in a deep dive in my Spotlight series next. 5% down the day. So 1,029 BBLS barrels per day. And they said that, there's been some downtime with the gathering system and other bits. And they're saying they've got 2.2 million in the bank currently, and the JV is still in negotiations, and it has been for some time, and I'll feature that later. Next up, Maru. So they've done 21 drill holes for phase 1, and they've sent the assays for analysis, then 15 holes in phase 2, but in total, there's 1,000 metres drilled in phase 1, 838 metres drilled in phase 2, and they're going around 29 metres a day. So if we look at this, they're talking about open pit mine design, grade and estimation in Q1 2024. Now, at 29 metres a day, there is a lot more drilling that needs to be done for DFS standards and things like that. So yes, they might do a PEA, which is a preliminary economic analysis, but it'll only be inferred resources at this stage because it needs a lot more drilling to get to proven resources and then DFS. So let's hope they don't rush it through, for example, like Prem did without a DFS. So next up, Zephyr, ZPHR. So they a bit of results today, 6 million in revenue. It's down from 7.1 million, but they're talking about decline rates. And they're also talking about 1043 BOE/PD. And it's down from 1,385 BOE/PD. But they're talking about 6 new wells, and they said it would offset a bit in terms of the income with the higher prices of oil and gas. So 7% down the day. Decline rates, will they pick up, is something for investors to think about. Next up, All Lithium. Another one, RNS today, 20% up on the day. Spiked a bit in the morning. Offer of 0.33 for the remaining shares that are not taken up by shareholders. And there's been some figures done on it, but again, we need to know the resource and loads of things to work out what a fair price is for the business. It was rejected because they're saying it's undervalued and in not best interest of shareholders who are backed up by auditors. Next up, KOD. So funding transaction completed for 117 million. It's split up into 2 parts. 100 million is sort of direct transaction, and the next one is 17 million of a subscription and 3 billion shares issued for that. Next up, and last up, VRCI. So it's 39% up on the day. It spiked to 80% up at one point. So, profit taking, we always talk about this on this channel and in our group. So basically, these guys, if you don't know anything about this, is a pharma play. They do clinical diagnosis for organ transplant, and they've got a global licensing agreement today with Thermo Fisher, world leader in serving and developing assays basically for pre-transplant prognosis and testing to make sure basically the kidney doesn't get rejected, which sounds a really exciting project. I love these pharma plays because there's a bit more of a moral thing behind them, and we really hope they do well. A lot of curves do have this big spike and then drop off, so hopefully it keeps going, this one. But again, it's all about your risk appetite. But what sounds good in the RNS is that this Thermo Fisher have rights but no obligation to manufacture and sell this. So if everything goes well, it could be on the way to manufacture, but again, there's still some hurdles to overcome. Like with any pharma play, there is risks attached. So that is the RNS summaries from the day. If you like what you hear, there's a link to our Telegram group, which is the largest in the UK and the most research-driven approach going. So if you like what you hear, come and get involved with us, and I'll see you tomorrow.